Hello, this is the Module 7 ICDL Online Essentials video, Part 1, covering Internet Explorer 11 and the Internet. My name's Andy McCall, and during this video I'm going to be going through some of the slides that are relevant for you in preparation for your tests. So the slides are available to you on Aula and the W drives for extra reference, but they are available to you to go through a bit more in detail so that you're preparing for your test. What I'll be doing is I'll be going through some key areas, key points that you need to know, in particular when you're going into your test. So let's begin. The Internet. You may be asking your test to define what the Internet is. So I'll ask you probably in the multiple choice scenario of what would correctly stand for the Internet. Pretty much the Internet is a collection of ICT devices that are connected by a global network, which allows individuals like yourself and me to communicate and share information through whether it be a desktop computer, mobile phone, tablet, laptop, any device that is connected to the Internet Games Console as well, for example. You also may in your test be asked to define what the World Wide Web is. So the World Wide Web is a vast collection of interconnected files which we all call web pages. So once we go on the Internet, we go onto a web page, we'd use that via the World Wide Web. Just a few key areas here. You might be asking your test to look at the different connections, connectivity to the Internet. So you've got dial-up, satellite, 3G, 4G, DSL cable, and leased lines. If anyone's familiar, dial-up is the old variants of the connected to the Internet, where you dialed in via a telephone system, and then you got connected. But the connectivity was really, really small and slow. What majority of people will be using is DSL cable. That's the popular in home and small businesses, so your digital subscriber line. Keep an eye on that word DSL, digital subscriber line. That may pop up in your test as well to define what DSL means. For big businesses and organisations, particularly like Coventry University, leased lines will be used particularly because there's the high bandwidth and the high volume of individuals using upload and download too. You may also in your test be asked to define what a Wi-Fi network is and why we would use them. So ideally Wi-Fi network are particularly suitable for devices on the move, for like say laptops, tablets, mobile phones. If you've got portable games consoles as well, handheld games consoles, it allows you to access the Internet with the resources that are available to you on the move. Connecting, the most important thing to ensure that your connection is safe and you are authorized to use it is to have it access to a Wi-Fi access point, which is protected by a security key. If you look at the examples just at the bottom, we've got multiple wireless devices available through Coventry University. So we've got the Phoenix, Fast, the Guest, the Secure as well. And on the right hand side, we've got what we normally see on our home computer. So if we were to click the network option just at the bottom, where just here, we'd be able to see what our connections that we're connected to and what's available when we select it. Sorry. You'll see on the right hand side we've got the signal strength indicator. So in your test you may be asked to point out which icon, which image describes the signal strength indicator. It's this one here. So you see the home network is the strongest, Starbucks is quite medium, and airport Wi-Fi is very, very low. Should be there. The SSID list is the available network connections. Now in your test you may see SSID. Now that's service set identifier. Just remember, if you see SSID, that is service set identifier. That is a description of the wireless network you're connecting to. So on the Internet, a web page has its own unique web address. This is known as a uniform resource locator. Another thing you may see in your test may prompt you to explain what a URL is. Just remember that a web address is known as a uniform resource locator. Just an example, just at the bottom, some domain names. So for a company, it's .co or .com. Academic, like Coventry University, we've got coventry.ac.uk. And then you've got government, non-profit organisation, and .net for an internet company. May pop up in your test. Just keep an eye and remember, particularly AC, gov.co.com, as well as .net too for internet company as well. Web browsers won't really come up in your test, but just to briefly state that you've got different variances. There's a market share of what's being used at the moment. So Chrome is the most popular as of July 2020. And then first of all, we're going to look at the Internet Explorer browser. So in this syllabus, it's not going to be going for any of the other browsers. It's looking at Internet Explorer 11. So we may be confident using Chrome or Edge or Firefox. Just be aware that this, in particular for the syllabus, is Internet Explorer 11. And also don't get confused between Internet Explorer and Edge, because they are different web browsers. Even when I first started using them, I was finding it a bit difficult, but Internet Explorer and Edge are completely separate, even though they're both run by Microsoft themselves. So for me to demonstrate Internet Explorer, what we've got on the slides is pretty much some little handy things to point out, because you may in your test be asked to point and select the areas that it comes up in the question. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring Internet Explorer onto the screen, so I'm going to show you and demonstrate a bit more easier. So the best way, once Internet Explorer has been installed on your computer, if you go to Microsoft.com, search for Internet Explorer, you can download it. You can type search and then type IE and then click it just there. As pointed out, be careful, it's Internet Explorer we're concerned about. And some of you may have already used it if you've gone into your diagnostic when you're doing your practice for your previous modules. So I've already got one open. So now we're in the browser. On the top left hand corner we've got the navigation buttons, which is move forward, move backwards. We've got our URL bar just here, the Uniform Resource Locator. We also have this icon here, which is the refresh button. We have a tab which displays the web page. We can also click a new tab to bring in another web page if we wanted to keep the previous one open. We have our view window just here, and we've got our browser control here, so we can print, and we can also use internet options. If I show you print, for example, got our Computer University web page. If I was to click File, Print, and you'll see you can select your printer and what you're going to be doing, what you're going to want to print. So we've got all selected, press print, print the whole web page. Or if we wanted to do a specific set of text or an image, we could highlight, go back, press print, print, and you'll see selection is available to you, and then you can press print. Keep an eye on print, because it will highly likely come up in your test. May ask you to state where you can print all the pages or a selection, and where you press to print as well. And the same goes with the tools and the features of Internet Explorer, which I've just demonstrated before too. So just keep in mind that it may show up in your test, so you know what it specifically is and you can answer it correctly. Another thing to consider going into your test is knowing what a hyperlink is. So a hyperlink is on a web page, but it could be a piece of text, it could be an image, it could look not even like something that you can click, but it may, dependent if you hover over it, and it will show. So you'll see here we've got the Computer University webpage. If I was to put my mouse over, you'll see accommodation. If I left click, it takes me to another location on the web page, and that hyperlink, not just within a website, for instance Computer University, it could also take you to another web domain or another web page outside of the link to it. And it's not just images as well, it can be text too. So it takes us there, and there we go. Also, we have a really good option on all web browsers, so you may be asked this in the test, is to sort out and actually look at your favorites. So if you find your test it's asking you to point out where you go to get your favorites, the star just next to the home page button. So that home page takes us to our home, but just stick into this. So we left click here, and it will show us our favorites. You can also see the your past history just here, and if you to click this arrow just on your URL, it will show you the past pages you've been to too. So you may be asking your test to say where would you click to see previously visited web pages. Got there, and you can also see by the history too. You can add a web page to your favorites. So click favorites, add to favorites, or if you want to add a new folder for a specific topic of a collection of web pages, you can add a new folder there, and you can click add once it's been created. May come up in your test, just to be aware. Key thing is that's favorites, and then you can manage your favorites and your history too. So really, really important going into your test knowing about that. Let's go back to our slides. So a search engine is a website which we use to type in keywords, and it brings up information specific to what we've searched for. Pretty much the first point of where we go on the internet for a majority of people. So once we log on, we'll go to a search site and it will type something in, and it will go and find any pages that are relevant to it. Really good thing to be aware of is that we've got the big three, which is Google, Yahoo and Bing. Estimated about 1.6 billion visitors normally on Google a month, and then Yahoo and Bing range between about 400 million, I should say, and 300 million. So you can tell in terms of the volume of people who use the internet how many are on there. When you're using a search engine, so if I was to bring up Google, for example, you'll see that there's specific ways we can search for things. So even if I was to type in Coventry, University, and I'd search, it'd bring up a list, but it obviously will include university too. What I can do is I can go to settings on Google, and you can go to search settings, and you can also change where you want the search for as well. So if you go to region, you can click Germany or any country in question. In your test, you may be asked to change the region. If you ask, for example, in your test, change the region or change the language settings to, let's say, for instance, Germany, and you'll see that it only shows up to B there. You'd click Show More, and then you'll be able to select from that point there. You can also, as I state, languages, what you're needing to do there. So it's really good. If you click Tools. Click Tools there. You can also specify any country or just in the UK, when it was posted, and in terms of results too. So just looking at other options, because in your test you may be asked to click one of them or go to your settings and alter what's needed. And also you've got, if we go back to the slide, you can also keep words together by putting speech marks in the at the start and at the end, so that when the search engine works, it will look for only words that have, say for instance, Coventry University. It won't look for separate things with Coventry and University as well. And also you can refine with an add or a minus in between. So for instance, New York, if you were to put a minus, it would just bring up new, would bring up York instead, and your plus would bring both words for there. So it kind of works in that sort of variance. Just keep in mind they are used in particular for refining if you want to delve into search engines, but a lot of majority of people will just type in the actual words that are needed, and then it should come up with that with a bit of searching too. But in terms of your test, really important to remember your location, your language, date, and you can also specify the media as well. So you've got images, video. Good tool, and which may come up in your test as well, is page interaction. So on Internet Explorer you can download files, save documents, pictures, videos. If you're on a web page and you saw an image, you could right click and select the appropriate action from the pop-up. In your test you may see something like this. So if I were to right click and have the pop-up menu, and it may ask you to highlight over where you would select to save a picture. So you click Save Picture just there, and it would allow you to save it onto your desktop or any location that you specify to. So it's really important to keep in mind that you've got that. There's also online forms. Go down to here. So online forms, kind of the same way we stand in the streets, or if we're doing surveys, for example, or if an individual comes to discuss. It's really good because you can do an online form online, and it will collate all the information automatically, so that it can be compared with others that have done it as well really quickly. And you can also use translate web pages. So if it is done in a different language and you want to translate it to another language, specific powerful tools are available online that you can use for that too. So it's really handy. Another good tip on Internet Explorer is setting your home page. So if I was to go back to our tools and go to Internet Options, what we can do is we can set our home page just here. So in general, we've got it currently at the moment as coventry.ac.uk. If I was to cancel that and go to google.co.uk and then go back to the same steps, Internet Options, and click Use Current, apply, and if we press the home page, it'll automatically repeat what's on the screen for us anyway, which is Google. Keep in mind that is highly likely to come up in your test, everybody, where we would go and what we would click to set the current web page as our home page. So use current. If it came with a web page that you needed to type in, so you can type in www.coventry.ac.uk, click apply, OK, click home, and our home page will be the Coventry University website. Another factor that may come into your test is being aware about pop-ups. So Internet Explorer has a really strong tool that normally shows at the bottom, and you may have seen it if you were accessing your diagnostic through Internet Explorer. It automatically prevents any website that opens new windows without you first clicking a link. It's really handy because sometimes you find websites, particularly shopping websites, they'll be hounding you with their sales or any deals or anything that's going on. What you can do with Internet Explorer is decide if you want to allow the pop-ups only once or always for the site. You may get this in your test because it will ask you where you would click to ensure that the pop-ups for this website are always shown. If it was for always shown, options for this site, so you'd select over there and it'd give you the option to do always allow to. Cookies are small, simple text files that are kept on a website that stores information that you've been looking at on a website. So it's good. It records useful data, account details, page views, settings, and shopping carts online. Cookies are available to you, same place, Internet Options, and it's through security. Because I'm using a university computer, and you should find the same on campus, you won't be able to see it. But if you use one of your home computers, you should see a shuttle just here. So in your test, if you're asked to point where you control the strength of blocking cookies or allowing restrictions or allowing all, this shuttle, if you were to point it in other direction, I would presume it's at the top, it will go to the strongest. At the bottom, it'll allow everything. So just to be aware that if you see this in your test, this is where you would choose you would allow third-party cookies to be saved on your computer, or not having them being used at all. Your test that you'll be taking may also ask you to identify which websites are secure, which ones that are encrypted, so when any information is sent or received over the connection is scrambled. So you'll see this URL just here, spreadsheet.google.com. You'll see the S just there. That means that it has been set to secure. You also have the padlock there too to identify that there is a certificate that's holding, but keep in mind, particularly for your test, HTTPS, what's showing is it is being secure too. Just a few things. I won't go into too much detail on this slide. Just staying safe. So obviously ensure that you're not downloading anything that's illegal. In your test, you may be asked, would you, for instance, what the implication of downloading something illegal? You may find that if you download something that is looks legitimate, but it's not, it may be actually disguising itself as a virus. So maybe in your test, it might ask for a few things just to be a bit savvy of using the internet, what downloading correct. Same also goes with data protection. May ask you in your test to point out what is correct, what you can hold, your personal data. If a business is having it, what is the reason for it? So it should be legitimately have a purpose, and it should be fairly and lawfully. But also the individuals that have your data must make sure that it's kept up to date and it's accurate as well, and only using it for its original purpose as well. You may also be asked in your test to define what copyright is. So a copyright law for any of original work on the internet, that being text, images, music, videos, software or games, is copied and can only be used with the permission that is being expressed by the owner of the person that's originally created it. Just in this table here, it's just describing some of the communication technologies that are available through the internet and online, through chat rooms, instant messages, email, which we're going to be going through a bit in the second video, conferencing, and SMS, so short messaging service as well. The one that I particularly want to keep an eye on is VoIP, which may show up in your test. So if anyone here on this video is familiar with using Skype, the correct term for Skype, what it really is VoIP. So it's voice over internet protocol. That terminology may show up in your test. So if you're asked what is VoIP, the term is voice over internet protocol, which allows you to make phone calls over the internet as well as a webcam, talk to friends, family and colleagues, or anyone over the internet around the world too. Also, online communities, forums, bulletin boards, social networking, for instance, Facebook and Twitter, games, so I know PlayStation Network, Xbox Live, virtual learning environment, so what we're using at the moment, Aula, is your virtual learning environment, which you're allowed to access your resources, interact with myself and your peers, and also the cloud, which is a online storage area, which allows you to save files and gives you the opportunity to access it anywhere in the world. You may be asked in your test to select what's the most suitable storage area for a file that you want to access if you don't save it on a removable device like a USB. The cloud allows you to do that because you save it in your own space, and then if you were to, let's say for example, go to another city and you're to log on to your computer, you can grab the file by logging into the cloud portal and grabbing your files from there. So it's available to you wherever there's an internet connection. So it's really handy. They may come up in your test too. Sharing content, so several technologies available for sharing content, and when that means content, that means expression of opinion. It could mean files as well. So blogs is a good one where you can use as a journal to post anything that's on your mind. Microblogs, so pretty kind of used if anyone's familiar with Twitter. Gives you opportunity to write a blog or what's on your mind with just a quick short sentence. Wikipedia, a wiki is a website that allows you to edit your own website, but what we were saying before about the authenticity of a web page, problem with wiki pages is it allows users to go in into a repository and edit them or contribute themselves, and some things may be legitimate, maybe not. In your test, you may also be asked what a podcast is. A podcast is a video or an audio file that's been created by a user and is distributed on the internet for other people to go and listen or view as well. And also media sharing, different websites that allows you to go and upload web pages, videos, images, so that other people can grab and use freely as well. On your test, another area that may pop up is Netica. So what Netica is communicating correctly and respectfully over the internet. So if I was meeting you face to face, I wouldn't be aggressively shouting at you. I would be talking in a manner that is welcoming and able to communicate in a very clear way. Same with if we're emailing or if we're doing a message online, we wouldn't use uppercase words because that would presume that we're shouting at the individual. Same with a exclamation mark several times. Be all tolerant and never send angry messages, which you may find your test to describe that. When you're sending an angry message on the internet, it's called a flame. And post and anything you post, particularly on the internet, ensure that it's not something that's a bit hostile or anything that may embarrass you, because the problem with the internet is that once it's on there, it is highly likely to be stored and saved for a very long time. So your footprint on the internet, something that you may regret before, but everything that is regarded as network etiquette. So it's just another point to be aware of. We won't go into too much detail in privacy and security. It was kind of covered in the first module that we did, but also ensure that anything that you're publishing online, personal information, be confident of where it's being posted. But if you were to put anything that is personal on an email or on a blog or on a bulletin board, just make sure that it's nothing personal, because messages will highly likely not be encrypted and other people can grab it too. So another point in your test, you may be asked to state, would you put your personal information onto an email over a unsecure network? Highly likely in real world you would never do that, so in your test you would point out you wouldn't be doing it as well. So as pointed out at the beginning of the video, these slides are all available to you on Aula and the W Drive for you to give you a bit more additional revision. This is the end of this first video. The second video, we're going to be going over the application Microsoft Outlook 2016, which is going to be covering email.